At the edge of the Eastern Sea, in the kingdom of Shentang Pass, lived a great general Li Jing. He served the Shang dynasty with unwavering loyalty, commanding armies and defending the coast from pirates and sea demons. His wife, Lady Yin, was kind-hearted and wise, loved by all for her grace. But for years, they had no child. Until one night, thunder shook the skies. A ball of red light descended from the heavens and entered Lady Yin's womb. For 3 years and 6 months, she carried the child. When the day finally came, it was no ordinary birth. The heavens trembled as the child was born wrapped in a ball of flesh. Li Jing, startled and afraid, cut open the strange cocoon. And there stood a boy, strong and healthy, with a face like carved jade and eyes bright as stars. They named him Nezha. From the moment he took his first breath, the winds stirred and the sea began to whisper. A hero had arrived, though no one yet knew whether he would save the world or shatter it. From the moment Nezha could walk, the world around him refused to stay still. The wind chased him like a shadow. The waves rose when he drew near. Even the clouds seemed to bow when his eyes met the sky. By the age of 7, he could leap across rooftops without touching the ground. His strength rivaled that of seasoned warriors. Li Jing, his father, wore pride on his face, but in the quiet hours of the night, he wondered, "What kind of child have I brought into this world?" One summer afternoon, Nezha wandered to the shores of the Eastern Sea. There, screams tore through the wind. Fishermen's boats were being dragged under by a massive sea serpent. The waves churned black, and the air stank of salt and blood. Without hesitation, Nezha ran into the water. The sea did not swallow him, parted, recoiling as though it feared him. With only a crimson silk scarf on his shoulders and 2 golden bracelets on his arms, he faced the monster. The serpent struck first, a blur of scales and teeth, but Nezha moved like lightning, his bracelets burning with a fire the ocean could not drown. He wrapped the scarf around the serpent's neck, yanked it toward him, and with a single strike, shattered its skull. Silence fell. The black waves grew still. The fishermen rowed to shore, staring at the boy who stood in the shallows, water dripping from his glowing bracelets. They did not cheer. They did not thank him. They stepped back, for the sea serpent had been a terror. But the thing that killed it so easily felt like something far more dangerous. Far beneath the waves, the Dragon King of the Eastern Sea opened his eyes. He felt the death of his kin like a knife through his heart. And in that moment, his fury began to boil. The wind carried the Dragon King's demand through every street of Shentang Pass. And with it came fear. People whispered behind closed doors. They remembered the stories of the boy who fought monsters before he could walk, who wielded weapons no mortal could lift, who could summon fire from air. To the fishermen and merchants, Nezha was not a savior. He was a storm waiting to break. So when the Dragon King called for him, many felt relief. Better to give the sea its due than face its wrath. That night, torches gathered outside the governor's palace. Voices rose, angry and trembling. Give him to the sea. Better one life than the city. Inside, Li Jing stood over his son. Nezha's gaze was steady, not afraid, not even angry. Only ready. Li Jing stepped out to face the crowd. The man who ruled Shentang Pass did not speak softly. "You will not touch my son." His voice cut through the shouts like steel. "If the sea wants war, then we will give it war." The people fell silent, some out of loyalty, some out of fear, not of the Dragon King, but of the man who had just chosen to defy him. By dawn, the city gates were reinforced. Spears were sharpened, every able hand prepared for the storm to come. The eastern sea boiled. Storms rose without warning, ripping sails to shreds. Fishermen swore they saw shadows beneath the waves, shapes larger than temples, eyes glowing like molten gold. The Dragon King of the Eastern Sea had risen from his palace of coral and bone. He did not come alone. From the deepest trenches, his armies followed serpents, sharks, creatures older than the moon. At the shore of Shentang Pass, the waves towered higher than the city walls. Lai Jing stood with his soldiers, spears trembling in their hands. The sky cracked with lightning, and from the black water emerged the Dragon King himself, crowned with living coral, draped in a cloak of kelp and pearls that dripped seawater like tears. "Bring me the boy," the Dragon King roared, his voice echoing like thunder inside a cave. "He has slain my son. He has spilled royal blood of the sea." Lai Jing's men stepped back. Some whispered that no mortal could face such a god and live. "I'm here." Nezha walked onto the wet sand, bare feet sinking into the foam. The crimson scarf around his shoulders danced in the wind. His golden bracelets pulsed with light. The Dragon King smiled, not in joy, but in hunger. "Then today, child, you will join him in the depths." Lai Jing's soldiers lined the walls. Shields braced, arrows notched, but even the bravest could feel the ground tremble with each wave. From atop the highest tower, Nezha watched. The air tasted of salt and storm. His father's words echoed, "Stand behind the walls." "You are not ready." But Nezha had never been one to wait. He leapt, not down, but out his silk sash, twisting in the wind like a living flame. The moment his feet touched the water, it froze beneath him. The first of the sea warriors lunged. Nezha's spear flashed once, and the ocean turned red. The war for Shentang Pass had begun. From the waves, the Dragon King's army surged, scaled beasts, sea demons with jaws like iron traps, warriors clad in coral and bone. The air reeked of salt and blood. Nezha moved like lightning, his spear carving arcs of silver through the rain. Every strike sent a ripple of fear through the enemy ranks, but for every foe he felled, 3 more rose from the deep. The walls shook under the assault. Boiling water crashed against the gates, sending steam hissing into the air. Arrows vanished into the tide before finding their marks. Through the chaos, the Dragon King's voice carried, "You cannot protect them forever, boy." But Nezha didn't answer. He leapt onto his wind fire wheels, spinning through the storm, tearing into the enemy lines, not as a child of man, but as a storm born of defiance. And somewhere in the black depths, the Dragon King's eyes narrowed. This was no ordinary battle. This was a reckoning. The storm reached its peak. Waves towered over Shentang Pass, black as the night sky, each one crowned with the fangs of sea beasts. In their center, the Dragon King rose, scales gleaming, trident in hand, eyes burning with vengeance. Nezha hovered above the chaos, wind and fire spinning beneath his feet. The two locked eyes, one born of the sea's depths, the other forged in defiance of heaven itself. Their clash split the ocean. Spears and tridents met, thunder and water exploding with each strike. For hours they battled in the air, on the waves, beneath the sea itself. Finally, With a cry that echoed to the horizon, Nezha drove his spear into the Dragon King's chest. The sea roared and then fell silent. When Nezha returned to the gates, the people of Shentang Pass looked upon him, but not with cheers, with fear, for they had seen the storm he carried within him and knew it could just as easily turn upon them. Nezha said nothing. He simply turned away, vanishing into the wind. His legend was far from over. And if you wish to know what came after the battles, the betrayals, the fire, and the gods, you will find the rest in the other tales of Nezha waiting in our realm of stories.